Pleasure.
My next guest was on this program defending WikiLeaks' right to disperse information it obtains, and he's taken a good bit of heat for it. Joining me now, Florida Congressman Connie Mack. Congressman Mack, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be with you, Judge.
Why are Republicans, you're the exception, generally calling for this guy's head rather than saying, well, let's see, he's revealing what the government is doing. There is a First Amendment. The Supreme Court has interpreted the First Amendment to say he has a right to reveal it. So just because you don't like what he says doesn't mean you can put him on a commission.
You know, I don't know the answer to that. You'd have to talk to them. But I can tell you that what we see a lot of times is members will get out on an issue very quickly before all the information is developed.
Right.
And for me, you know, this is pretty simple, that the idea that we're focusing on WikiLeaks and not focusing on what the federal government is trying to do it's a head fake, like I think I said last time we were here.
Right, and here's the head fake. I think you probably agree with me, but maybe you can elaborate on this. There's over 1 million documents in the hands of WikiLeaks. The government wants us to believe that one buck private who's been in jail for the past 6 months is solely responsible for all of this. Does anybody take that seriously?
I don't know if they do, but they should. And I think what they should do is also see if there's more people involved. Obviously there is. Look, if the government wants to keep a secret, then it's up to the government to keep the secret. But to go after WikiLeaks when it's the government's own lack of security, if you will, and then turn around and say to the American people, basically, that if you do something we don't like, we're going to intimidate you and harass you. And I think this goes back to the Patriot Act, some of the wiretapping discussions we had. The federal government is too big, too broad, and it tries to impose its will on our freedoms.
And it doesn't respect our freedoms in the Constitution. It doesn't respect the guarantees that are imposed upon it, like the right to privacy. The Patriot Act, as you know, letting federal agents write their own search warrants. What about this? The federal government intimidated PayPal, Amazon, and other vendors out of doing business with WikiLeaks because it didn't like what WikiLeaks was published. And some people are applauding that. Well, could the same federal government intimidate the people who sell ink to the New York Times or to the Wall Street Journal and say, we don't like their editorials, so don't sell them ink so they can't print? I mean, how far will the government go? How many people would stand up and applaud that?
You know, this is exactly the point. This is why I think the people are not really understanding what's happening here. The fear should be, what will our federal government do to try to punish American citizens and corporations if those citizens or corporations do something that the government doesn't like? It doesn't make sense.
Even if what they do is not only not criminal, but according to the Supreme Court is absolutely protected free speech.
That's right.
All right, switching gears before I let you go. Organizations like Freedom Works and the American Conservative Union have finally said, you know what, the spending is so out of control that there are no sacred cows, even the Defense Department. Congressman Mack, is it time for a serious debate amongst Republicans as to how to cut defense spending?
It's time for a serious debate how to cut spending all across the board.
Including the Defense
Department. Nothing should be left off the table. Everything should be taken into account. And I think the American people deserve the Congress to make sure that we're spending the money properly.
Now, when you say that, and Congressman Ron Paul agrees with you, and soon-to-be Senator Rand Paul agrees with you, what does the leadership of the Republican Party say? Do they put their hands on their ears, or are they willing to have that conversation?
No, I think they're listening. I think the leadership in the Congress is saying, look, we've got to turn everything upside down, and we've got to take spending seriously. You know, right now we're in a debate about taxes,
right,
and whether or not we're going to raise taxes on people that make $250 or more. The real issue here is spending. The federal government, frankly, doesn't deserve any more of our money. And certainly the federal government owes it to the people of this country to cut spending.
Boy, is that nice to hear. Congressman Connie Mack from Florida, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Judge.
They're making